Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's Donovan here. I am trying to get signals from Ethan, he's behind the camera right now. Okay, welcome to class. One announcement first, we're going to do OsaeKomiWaza tonight. One announcement first though, that I'm pretty excited about. We still cannot open, which that part I'm not excited about, but we do have, starting February 8th, the option of providing one-to-one training. So that means if one person has a specific technique they've been working on and they can't figure it out, or they're looking for to be ready for their next belt test, or they're ready for their next belt test and they want to be tested, then give me a call or drop me a line and we can set up an appointment, then you can come in. A couple of requirements. It will be Ethan and I wearing masks. We will be each other's Tori and Uke. You have to provide your own Uke. Okay, you can't work with us because we have to stay 3 meters away from each other. And we'll have that space marked out on the mat, and we're going to be really rigid about that. We cannot afford, there's the issue of getting sick, and that's the absolute worst thing, but there's also the issue of we can't afford for the medicine at Judo Club to be the source of an outbreak. So we're going to follow the rules rigidly. We'll have tape marked out on the mat somehow that will keep us 3 meters apart, and we'll stay that way. Ethan and I will wear masks, and we'll ask you and your Uke to wear masks as well. But from there, if you're ready for a belt test, if you're not ready for a belt test but you need some help getting ready for it, if there's specific techniques you want to work, like whatever, there has to be a specific objective, but wide open to working with you on that. If you think that might be something you're interested in, drop me a line, info@medhatjudo.com, or call me, text me, 403-580-6666.
And remember that you don't need a judoka to be your uke for most newaza techniques.
Yes, for anything newaza, shimewaza, kensetsuwaza, you don't necessarily need them to be a judoka. Somebody from your household can work for all of that. The other thing, if we use Big Blue, we may be able to use, we may be able to teach ukemi to your uke. Teach them well enough that we could be safe, we can safely try other techniques. If you're interested and you're not sure how it would work, even if you're not sure how it would work, give me a call and we'll see if we can figure something out. Which brings us to tonight. Tonight we're going to do OsaeKomiWaza. So there's a couple of terms to hit first. Newaza, we always talk about groundwork as newaza. Newaza just means mat work or groundwork. It includes OsaeKomiWaza, shimewaza, which is strangling techniques, and kensetsuwaza, which is arm bars.
If you see it in a jiu-jitsu match, it's probably newaza.
Yes. I always say judo leaves jiu-jitsu in the dust, I think, in terms of stand-up, in terms of throws, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the whole wide world once you get on the ground. OsaeKomiWaza is hold downs, and that's what we're going to cover tonight. There's a couple of requirements in order for the ref to say OsaeKomi. You got to have 4 things. You got to have uke on his back, tori more or less on his front, with one exception. And we'll show you that in a bit. And tori has to be in control. And that included in that would be the 4th thing, and that's that if tori has his legs wrapped around any part of uke's body, or uke has his legs wrapped around any part of tori's body, then all right, then OsaeKomi is broken. So that's why when we do Yoko Shiogatami, you always keep your knee closest to his legs tucked up tight so that he can't wrap your leg. And the reason for that is if I'm on the bottom and I can wrap your leg, you're not completely in control anymore. There's a couple of principles we're going to go through. The first is use your weight intelligently. Your weight is this is one of the things that Ethan's got a great story he'll tell you in a couple of minutes, where you don't have to weigh that much to be absolutely impossible to move. So use your weight intelligently, and we'll go through that. And trap pieces of uke. So the idea behind that is if you've trapped this arm, I can't roll this way without leaving my arm behind, and I can't leave my arm behind. So you're going to trap pieces of, rather than focusing on uke's whole body, you're going to focus on pieces. So kami shihogatemi, for instance, only traps this part of my body, my head and this arm, and that's it. And yet, if you put it on solid, I'm completely immobilized.
It's hard to go places without your head.
You need to take that stuff with you, yeah. So if you can hang on to an arm, if you can hang on to a shoulder, then you've got okay. And then the last part, we'll go through each of the hold downs and some transitions between each of them. So we're going to shut the camera off for just a second, and then we'll fire it up. Do some hold downs. All right, welcome back. Set that up so we can see the stopwatch. We are going to go through OsaeKomiWaza tonight. One of the... Ethan just did something with my phone, and I haven't the first clue what it is, but we'll figure it out. So one of the things I meant to mention earlier, you don't necessarily need an uke. You don't need a judoka for this. Anybody can be your uke, who's willing to, anybody in your household who's COVID safe, and who's willing to get pinned to the ground over and over again. But you can also do this with a pillow, with a dummy, with a stuffed animal. So don't take a lack of a judoka in your household as an obstacle, okay? So first we're going to go through, there are 4 keisagatamis to go through.
It's a lot of keisagatamis.
There are, so, right?
Oh my.
All right, position your body here, on an angle. All right, so keisagatami, grab up tight in the armpit, hand down flat or on his collar, feet spread so that he can't dump me forward and he can't dump me back. And then once I've got this arm, I'm going to turn into his body. And I want to hear that. I don't know if you heard that on the camera, but Ethan kind of gives a... What I'm looking for is if he can't use his right lung, it's way harder for him to fight. The other thing is it gives me a really solid base to work from. Okay? Space is his friend and your enemy. So when he tries to get out of this, go ahead. I'm going to squirm around with him. And I'm going to try to prevent him from making any space. I'm hanging onto this arm. Awesome. So, keisagatami, turn this way a bit. Kazure keisagatami. Kazure just means modified. So that's this hand here, prevents him from tipping me this way. I can post this hand out and stop him that way. We're going to come back this way. I have no idea why this is a completely separate throw. Shuffle towards showman. Just making sure we're still in the shot. I have no idea why this is a completely separate hold down, but Makura keisagatami. This is just a factor when you're doing your Shodan test. If you're doing your Shodan test and they ask you for M keisagatami, just put your hand. It means pillow keisagatami. And then the last one is Ushiro keisagatami. So in this one, we're going to have to spin all the way around. So in this one, I got an arm around, and I hang on to this. So this is one of those where I got 2 pieces of uke, turned on an angle. I have his head, and I have his arm. So me holding onto his head prevents him turning towards me. Me holding onto his arm prevents him from turning away from me. All I have is this top corner of his body, and yet he can't go anywhere without leaving either his head or his arm behind, which is kind of a big deal. So that's Ushiro keisagatami. You also have Kazure Ushiro keisagatami, which is this one here. Grab this hand. This hand goes, pivot this way. This hand hooks on his belt. So the escape for this is he pushes this hand down and then rolls me out. So I'm going to hook my thumb on his belt, get a really good grip on this arm, and then I'm going to turn around and look at him. And he loses his right lung again. So this is Ushiro Kuzure Keisagatami. It's reverse modified Keisagatami.
Uke's back a second here. Alright.
All right, so Keisagatami, scarf hold. Kuzure Keisagatami, modified scarf hold. Ushiro Keisagatami, reverse scarf hold. Makura Keisagatami, pillow scarf hold. And Kuzure Ushiro Keisagatami. Who knew there were 5 Keisagatamis in this?
I think Kano was playing favorites.
He liked this one. Well, it's one of those where there's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
And in all of them, or most of them, you're holding on to a head and an arm. That's it. So that brings us to Yoko Shiogatami. You want to switch? You show them this?
Oh, that's good.
No. So, Yoko Shiogatami. Grip around here, and I grip the skirt of his gi. My chin's gonna be about even with his rib cage there, and he's putting his hand down to protect himself. My feet, I don't know if you can see my feet. My right foot tucks up. I don't want it stretched out because he's gonna use his legs to wrap this leg. So I want it tucked up nice and tight. I'm gonna pull, my hands are gonna come down and pull them towards me, and I'm gonna squish my hips as low to the mat as I can. I've seen people do Yoko Shiogatami up like this, and if he can get this elbow in, I'm rolling, I'm going over. So the lower my hips are, the harder it is for him to lift me up. The other thing is, this space here is critical. His escape, he's gonna try to tuck that elbow in. So we want to make sure that that's not possible. And the lower my hips are, the harder it is for him to do that. So I pull these in, my chin goes down, and he loses that right lung again. Yoko Shiogatami. Side 4 corners hold. Now from Yoko, we're going to move to Munegatami. So as we're moving, he pops this arm out. Okay. I'm going to wrap these hands together. I've moved up. I'm right into his armpit. My feet are still stretched out, but now they don't need to be. So what I'm going to do is tuck this knee in so that he can't get that elbow. Because again, getting his right elbow in, that's his escape. That's what he wants to do for this. The other thing I'm going to do is every time he turns towards me, my hands are going to go deeper. So that when he turns back, turn up this, I'm making a fist, and that's chalking him so that he can't roll backwards. So as he tries to roll back, he can't. And each time he moves up, it goes deeper and tighter. And his ability to move around is even more diminished. So if he tries to roll back, he gets a really cool chiropractic adjustment. But the thing is, he's not gonna, because that fist is in his way. So he can't roll out of this. My knees are nice and tight. My knees are spread, so I'm close to his body, but my knees are spread right out, so I can get my hips as low as possible to the ground. He can't get that elbow in. This elbow here, he can't get it in. He can't roll me over, and he can't come towards me. He can't roll away from me because my fist is blocking his back, and he can't roll towards me because my body is nice and tight on him, and I'm hanging onto this arm. He can't move out. So that's Munegatami. What's that in English?
The chest hold.
Chest hold. As I was looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't know what that is. Munegatami, chest hold. All right, Tatishogatami. So, start from here. We are in Yoko Shiogatami. As he squirms, he pops this arm free. So I switch to Munegatami. All is good. He keeps squirming. And I go over top. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. Let's scoot towards Showman, make sure we're still in the frame. All right. So I'm gonna do a couple of things here. The one is, my knees are spread right out. I watched one guy do Tate Shiogatami like Superman. And it was really hard for me to do anything because my weight is right on top of him. The other thing I'm gonna do is push this arm across and gable grip. And I'm gonna use the back of my head to keep that arm next to his head and tighten the two down so that he can't use this arm to escape. Any weight that's on my legs, on my feet, or on my knees is weight that isn't on his body. So I either want to grapevine his legs, and we'll spin around in just a sec, I'll show you that, or here, let's spin all the way around. Show them our feet. So I'm either going to grapevine my legs or I'm going to lock my feet under him. All right. So in terms of the feet, I got his arm across his head, got the gable grip going on. I can either grapevine his legs like this and hang on to them, or if he pops his foot free, I can wrap my legs up underneath. What I want to make sure I'm doing is spread my knees out so if he turns one way or another, go ahead and turn, I can block it and keep him from turning and just rolling me over. If my knees are in too tight, he just rolls and we end up with him in my guard. And OsaeKomiWaza. So that is Tate Shiogatami. What else have we got? Kami Shiogatami. Love this one. Lie down feet that way. So, this is the one, another one where I'm just getting this grip here. So, I'm grabbing his belt on both sides. I'm pushing his head away from the camera. This arm, actually this arm's supposed to go under here. And for the most part, I'm hanging onto his head and his arm. This grip on the belt just gives me a solid purchase to hang on to. My knee near his head is lifted up, and my other foot spread out, always live toes, never like this, up on your toes. And my hips are way down at the ground. So my hips aren't up in the air like this, they're as flat to the ground as I can make them. And then I'm going to squish myself as best I can. Sit up. Like, yeah, seated. I'm facing the camera. So this arm's up, and I'm trying to squish myself as close into here as I can pull off. Okay? That is Kami Shiogatami.
Pull.
And then pull in. Yep. Which brings us to our last one, Katagatami. Head towards the camera.
My favorite.
Yeah, it's everybody's favorite. Love this one. This is both OsaeKomiWaza and OsaeKomiWaza. Arm comes around here, gable grip again. My head's in the back, and the back of my head is against his tricep. This knee into his ribs, and this foot out like an outrigger. My hands then cinch down tight, and they make the choke. And if I don't want to choke, I'm working with an orange belt or someone who's below U14, then I just hang on to this. And it's remarkably tough to get out of. And that would be Katagatami. No, you okay there?
Yep.
Another thing to keep in mind though is the fact that you don't have one of the hold downs on this list doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't count, right? Remember the requirements. Uke on his back, tori face down, and you have control. So I'm remembering a great rollover that Sensei Kion showed us. All fours? How are we going to end up here? Shuffle this way a touch.
I don't know what's happening, by the way.
So, a great hold down Sensei Kion showed us. This one. Yeah. So here, this isn't really any of those hold downs. Let's shuffle towards Showman.
I can't move.
Okay. Wow. We'll try that once more, but further up here. I didn't realize how far we were going to travel. All right. So here's a great hold down that Sensei Keon showed us. Great rollover into a great hold down. He can't go anywhere. This is one of those that as long as I keep a good solid grip on his right arm, the one that's under my armpit, and I maintain this grip over here, which is my right hand, if I can maintain those two grips, there's nowhere for him to go.
Because remember, my feet can be down. That doesn't mean I'm out. My shoulders got to get down.
Yep. So he's on his back, I'm on my face, and I'm very much in control right now. There's really nothing he can do. So it isn't on that list, but it's still a perfectly valid hold down. While I'm here. The one exception, head the other way. Head pointed that way. The one exception that the IJF will accept now is this. So I'm not face down, but I'm still very much in control. So I got this grip here, I'm looking up, even if I have this, and I'm still in control. So this still counts, even though I'm face up, not face down. All right. So is there anything else we wanted to add? Yes, there is. All right. So, line back. So as I'm moving, and this way a little more. So as I'm transitioning from one to the other, from here to Karagatami, to Monegatami, to Tateshiogatami. Wherever I'm transitioning, I'm always keeping my weight on top of them. So if I'm transitioning from here and I get up to move around, this is going to get away, right? So that's an important detail. If you're moving from one hold down to another, keep your weight in the middle of Uke's chest. So even if I don't have the hold down yet, I can still transition into something else. The other thing to keep in mind is if the ref has said OsaeKomi and you have to transition from one hold down to another, that's fine. OsaeKomi continues as long as you're in control. Tokeda doesn't happen until you've lost control. So if you have to move from Yoko Shiogatami to Munegatami to Tateshihogatami, okay, as long as you maintain control, the points keep racking up for you. 10 seconds is Wazari, and 20 seconds is Ippon. Anything else that we missed?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, as always, if you have any questions, please let us know. Once you take the video now, do some warm-up, some push-ups, push, pull, squat, core. So some push-ups, some Aussie push-ups, some squats. You can mix them up a little bit. Push-ups like this. Stagger your hands. You can do archer push-ups. So down on one side, up on the other. We used to play judo trivia when I taught the juniors, where if they got the question wrong, I told them what kind of push-ups everybody had to do. Anyone who got a question right got to tell me what kind of push-ups I had to do. So there's a lot of different kinds of push-ups. Push, pull, squat, core, some good squats, belly, and backups.
Shrimps are good, as are sit-outs for Newaza specifically.
Yeah.
Especially
Sit-outs
shrimps.
are these. Foot here, foot comes underneath, leg and arm goes over. Foot always comes under, arm always goes over. And if you have any questions, info@medhatjudo.com, comment under the Facebook post, or call or text any of the senseis. Thank you very much. Have a good night.